For tonight, going to be rain again for most areas, but we do expect a little bit of a wintry mix across the area. So nothing has really changed over the past couple of days since we've been watching this system. Many of us will see a light wintry mix, but the key here is light. And the amount of snow and ice totals will be on the lower side. So we're not expecting widespread travel concerns, but honestly, I think there could be a few, because anytime you're talking about ice situations, freezing rain, and temperatures as cold as they'll be, especially on the plateau, there's always that option. So something we'll certainly have to watch for sure across the area. So let's talk about what we're looking at here. Now, we're seeing rain that's already starting to make its way from the mid-state towards the plateau, and some of this rain is going to be moderate to heavy, and that's another thing we may have to watch with still some snowpack on the ground, especially across the plateau into Kentucky. Some of the rainfall could be locally heavy and may have an isolated flooding situation in spots. I don't think it'll be widespread, but remember, a lot of the storm drains may still be covered up with snow or ice as well, so that really has no place to go. Stronger storms actually to the south, portions of Mississippi into Alabama. We won't see that, but we will see some moderate to heavy rainfall kind of making its way through. Another thing, had several people say, man, why was it so cool today across the area? Well, it really depended on where you live. This warm front really was a pain for me, because look where we are in Gatlinburg, 38, Newport, Dandridge, Morristown, 37. But just to the south of this boundary, 54 Madisonville, 55 Dayton, 57 degrees in Cleveland. So warm to the south. You can see those southerly winds pumping up. It's warm back into the mid-state as well, but it's kind of cool areas really from Maryville. Look at the distance, 10-degree difference just over a few miles there, 8 degrees between Oak Ridge and Loudon. That's not very far away. But it won't have any impact really on our forecast. It's not going to change as this cold front moves through the area, which is good to see across the area. Let me kind of show you what it looks like right now. This is, you see the rain coming down. This is back into Crossville. This is Cumberland County. That's our camera that's atop City Hall there. And they are seeing some pretty heavy rainfall across the region there. You can see kind of as the car drives by, you can see the rain that's coming down. So it is all liquid. It is going to stay that way for a while tonight. Let's talk about the timing of this. This is where we are right now at 9:30. So that rain's making its way across the plateau. Between now and 11, it's kind of approaching. It'll probably be very close to the Knoxville area by then, but areas east over to the Smokies, not quite there. But keep in mind, the yellows, the greens, the blues, that's rain. When you start to get to the pink, it's the mix, and the purple is the snow across the area. And that's what we're going to be watching for. Now, what we've been saying really all along is the cold air is lagging in the sense that most of the moisture is going to be moving out, but there is going to be this kind of time frame, especially early morning on the plateau, that we're going to keep an eye on. This is 3 Eastern, so about 2 Central, and notice they're already down to 26 Jamestown, 27 Oneida, 30 Crossville. Again, forecast model, so maybe a degree one side or the other there, but that's pretty indicative that it's going to be cold. So right there, that tells me that's kind of my focus area where we could have some travel concerns from the plateau up into southeast Kentucky. We're still showing temperatures mid to upper 30s here in the Knoxville area. So let's go ahead. I'll stop it at 6 a.m. Maybe a lot of you heading out to work by then, or some that are heading to school. We're drying out, or showing drier conditions across the plateau, but look at temperatures. They're in the 20s. 33, and maybe a bit of a mix where that pink is here in the Knoxville area. Some purple snow there up towards Maynardville, and then that's going to be moving out of the area by the time we get to midday. Clouds are going to be slow to clear. At least through late morning to lunchtime. Could be similar to what we saw for today, in the sense there could be some drizzle and low cloudiness. And when you have that and temperatures this cold, you may have a little bit of patchy freezing drizzle in some spots. Tanya, thanks for watching, tuning in. Rob, Melissa, also Pearl, appreciate you tuning in and watching here. I'll try to look over and get some of your questions as well as we go through this here. By 4 o'clock, we're starting to see some breaks in the clouds. Maybe those low clouds slowly starting to lift a little bit. That's what we want to see. We don't want that drizzle persisting the entire day, but I still wouldn't be surprised if there is a little bit in the at least early afternoon. But watch what happens to temperatures between 4 o'clock and 11 o'clock Thursday night. That's cold. We're down into the teens once again already, the plateau up into Kentucky, and low to mid 20s here in the valley. So if we do see some snow accumulations, which I'm not expecting a ton, but any type of accumulations of ice or snow that's not cleared, it's going to freeze pretty quickly as we go into Thursday night across the area. Now, I talked about the potential for some freezing rain, probably not so much for a lot here in the valley because, again, our temperatures are borderline. Oftentimes what happens when you get a system that's moving like this, of course, it gets colder on the plateau into Kentucky first because of their elevation, and it takes some time for that cold air to come over the plateau and sink down into the valley. And I think that's going to be the case with this system as well. That's why I think our area of biggest travel concerns up the I-75 corridor, like usual, right up towards Jellicoe, and then I-40 west back towards Crossville, Cumberland County, portions of Fentress, Morgan, Scott, Campbell, northwest Anderson, you get up in elevation, the Briceville community, west of Rocky Top, you start to get up in those higher ridge tops, Windrock Mountain. That's what we're talking about there. Maybe even portions of Claiborne County as well, because again, you're getting up in elevation. Once you get north of Norris, you start to get up a couple of thousand feet. It can make all the difference with this in the world. But that's what we're talking about, the threat for freezing rain there. Of course, highest peaks of the Smokies as well. Then you add on top of that maybe a little snow. The latest forecast run a little bit higher with some of these totals. I'm not totally convinced, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's kind of a thin line, northern Fentress up into northern Scott, portions of McCrary, Whitley, even Campbell County, where we see a 1 to 2 inch total. So if we get freezing rain, a little bit of that first, and then a chance of some light snow on the top of that, yeah, that's not going to be good. And of course, TDOT and surrounding areas can't pre-treat the roads with the liquid brine that they put down because of all the rain that's coming down first. It would be useless. It would just wash it off. So that's something we have to watch for. Loretta, I will try to keep it away from Sneedville and Tazewell, but I think there's at least the potential of a little bit of light icing there. So fingers crossed that that's not going to be the case. Rob, are you sure you have 23 degrees in Oakdale? That seems pretty cold. 23 seems awfully cold. We'll have to double check that. All right, Jamie, glad you love this. Glad you're tuning in. Appreciate it. Let me show you this as well. It's a kind of exclusive forecast model we have here at Channel 6. You're only going to see it here at Channel 6. It gives a forecast for road surface temperatures across the area. So what it's showing by the time we get to 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, that it could be significantly colder, like I mentioned on the plateau, showing temperatures in the upper 20s all the way up into southeast Kentucky. And then as you come down in elevation, it's a touch warmer or less cold in the valley. That's why, again, I don't expect widespread concerns. Places like down through McMinn, Loudon, Monroe, Blount, also into Knox, probably much of Jefferson and Granger and Hamlin counties. But there could be a few bridges and overpasses. We've talked about that before, right? Air can circulate quicker under a raised surface. So like a kind of a long span, a bridge or an overpass, air can circulate underneath that and cool the top of that surface quicker than the main roads itself, right? So bridges and overpasses freeze sooner. So this is a more broad look, but know that areas close to this could. So basically anything you see in this blue shading into the light blue is going to be below freezing. And notice you're seeing just a lot of gray here. Now this is the lake and river systems here, so that's what you're seeing. But the rest of this, as I mentioned, is the temperatures dropping below freezing in spots, especially back across the plateau into Kentucky. That's why I think the bigger concerns could be there. Rob says, sorry, 34 in Oakdale. That makes more sense, buddy. 23, I would have been very worried. 34 sounds a little bit better there. All right, let's take a look. Again, the opportunities for a wintry mix are high, meaning rain changing to a mix of freezing rain and or light snow in spots. But as I showed you, ground surface temperatures a little too warm for most areas with the exception of the plateau in Kentucky especially. So we have our snow totals and freezing rain totals as low. But our travel impacts could be in that medium range simply because it doesn't take much, especially of the freezing rain variety. So plateau, Kentucky counties, that's really what I'm most concerned about as we head into the early morning hours on Thursday. Seen it all over social media as well. What about this weekend storm that's heading our way Friday as well? Been watching it all week, and as I've been saying, I'm not overly impressed with it. It looks further and further south and east every day as we get closer to it. So really, we're not that concerned with it. I will kind of show you a forecast model that's indicating that we'll go from later tonight, or tomorrow night rather, Thursday night, into Friday morning. You see it's relatively quiet. There's just a little bit of very light purple showing up over the higher peaks of the Smokies, but the majority of this looks like it's going to be areas east into the Carolinas, and you can see how that kind of blossoms later in the day on Friday. This is Friday at 11 o'clock, and we're already seeing some breaks in our clouds, and we're starting to dry out, and things do look a little quieter for the weekend. But I will say, if you do have travel plans east on Friday onto the other side of the Smokies, be very careful. And look, some of this snow could be down into some very low elevations, maybe even beach areas of the Carolinas up into Virginia, the Delmarva Peninsula. So places like Norfolk, maybe out towards Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina. You see Atlantic Beach. You may see a little bit of some light snow all the way to the coast with this system as that cold air moves through. But you can see we're much quieter as we go through the day on Saturday. Hopefully some sunshine. So again, I'm not overly convinced with this. I'll show you the 7-day forecast real quick. Tomorrow's our bigger impact in the sense that a little bit of a light mix to start, but then temperatures aren't going to change much through the day. Our high is going to be probably whatever we are at midnight tonight, so low to mid 40s for Knoxville, and then we're going to stay in the 30s most of the day tomorrow. And I just kept in a very slim chance of some mountain flurries, as I showed you, as we go later Friday into Friday night with that system, so not concerned with that. But it is cold. We're down in the low 20s Friday morning and barely at freezing Friday afternoon. A little quieter through the weekend. Cold in the mornings. Yes, we're near 20, but at least we've got a little bit of sunshine, slightly warmer temperatures there. Quiet start to the week, and there's another chance of a mainly rain the way it's looking right now. Could mix with some snow or other types of wintry precipitation if it's a little slower and lingers into late Tuesday evening. But at this point, looks like it's a mainly rain event, but we'll see as we get a little closer to it. That's still 2 systems away, right? Tonight's Fridays, and then we'll look ahead to Tuesdays. So let's kind of recap here for you real quick. Marlea wants more snow. It's like a battleground, right? Some people are already over it and ready for spring. Others, they want to see more in the way of snow. So you're welcome, Keedith, for the update. Sure, no problem. What's the timeline on the changeover in the southern Kentucky, Whitley County? So Terry, let's talk about that. Again, what we're looking at is all rain to begin with through the overnight hours, but early morning Thursday, we'll see it end as a wintry mix for most, but the key is light amounts of snow and ice. But I still think there could be some road issues, so let's talk about that. Here comes the rain. Already pretty moderate east of Nashville, back towards the Plateau, Putnam County, White County, up through Pickett, Overton as well, just out of our viewing area. But there is some rain up into portions of Fentress and Scott County as well, and even southeast Kentucky. So all that moisture is coming our way. Some stronger storms that have been popping up now through portions of northern Alabama between Birmingham and Huntsville. But as I mentioned earlier, this warm front's been the pain in my side all day today. Had a forecast high of 51 degrees, right? Looked like the warm front would get well north of us and we'd be warm. That just hasn't been the case. It decided it was going to park itself. Oak Ridge is 42 right now. Loudon's 50, 55 in Dayton, 57 in Cleveland, but it's 37 Dandridge and Newport, 36 Greenville, 39 in Harlan, and 39 in Manorville. You get the point here. Now, this front's not going to lift too much further to the north, though, because the cold front, which is in Middle Tennessee, is going to catch up to it. It's going to catch up to it before the warm front can lift north. So the front's already making its way through Nashville. So that's going to push through. We won't see temperatures change a whole lot across the area. You can see the cars driving by. Look at the heavy rainfall that we're seeing. This is Crossville. If you're familiar with it, this is atop City Hall, and we're looking kind of off to the north and west. This is Main Street that runs right through town. And notice even the traffic lights are swaying a little bit. There's some gusty winds within this rain, but I don't expect there's nothing severe with it. I don't even know that we'll hear much in the way of thunder as this system comes through. But here's what I wanted to point out. 6 timeline shows where we are now. Notice temperatures again close to 50 degrees, but that warm front's not going to make it too much farther to the north. So really whatever we have our temperature-wise in Knoxville around midnight is probably going to be the official high for the day, because then temperatures will drop off. So again, you were asking about the snow potential. Who was that up into southeast Kentucky? Terry West. So let's talk about that. You're still rain into southeast Kentucky by 11 o'clock tonight, but notice between say 2 and 3, that's when you're seeing your changeover. It'll be sooner further west, McCrary County, last over towards Harlan County. But I do think this is kind of the more favored area if we're going to see accumulations and possible travel concerns as well. But notice by 3 a.m. it still has Knoxville kind of in that mid-30s range. Moisture's moving out quick, so that's why we're not expecting high totals for snow or sleet with this system as it comes through. But shortly after it moves out, as I mentioned, those temperatures are going to hold steady, if not drop through the day. This is midday. We've already got low to mid 20s on the plateau and close to freezing here. And it could be similar to today briefly, where we have those low clouds and we get a little bit of drizzle. That's not a good thing because we could see a little bit of freezing drizzle in some spots, especially say above about 1,500 feet in elevation. Maybe not so much in the Knoxville area, but just slightly higher elevations. You could see that through at least lunchtime, but I do think after that we're starting to scour out those lower clouds. 4 o'clock and 11 o'clock tomorrow night, but look how cold it is. We're dropped into the teens and 20s across the area. So again, I do think there'll be some light freezing rain. That's not good, of course. You see a little bit of a light glaze of some ice, and that's why I kind of have this circle for the biggest travel concerns. I guess if we wanted to include portions of Claiborne County up through Harlan County, wouldn't hurt my feelings. I think you as well. But not only do we have the potential for the light freezing rain, but we could see some light snow as well. Our forecast model showing less than an inch places like Jonesville, Virginia, and Middlesboro. But that lighter blue, you're getting a little bit more than an inch, but just under 2. So if we have that threat for some light freezing rain, and then you get a little bit of light snow on the top of it, even if it's not a lot, Crossville up into Morgan County, Petros, Wartburg area, it doesn't take much to cause some slick roads and travel concerns. And I showed you this as well. Our forecast model showing by 8 o'clock Thursday morning, we're going to be near freezing or below freezing for a lot of the road surfaces temperatures. So really from Claiborne County, Hawkins, Hancock County, all the way around to the plateau, these are where you could have your travel concerns. Maybe not so much everywhere in the metro area, portions of Sevier, Blount, Knox, Loudoun, Roane counties, but just watch out on the bridges and overpasses, okay? I still think those could be a bit problematic. So I think a lot of people will at least see some flakes mixed in as this moisture exits. So we have a high chance for seeing a wintry mix, but snow totals and freezing rain totals look to be on the low side. But as I mentioned, it didn't take much to cause some travel concerns across the area. Christy says she's ready for some warm weather. Terry says, thank you. Hope I answered your question there for Southeast Kentucky. No worries. Thanks for pinning that down for me. It's about time I have to travel to get up to work. Oh, just before 5 a.m. Terry, be careful, okay? Take it easy out there. I do think that could be a bit problematic. So thanks everybody for tuning in for this quick little Facebook Live update for you and online. We'll have the latest for you again coming up a little more than an hour here at 11 o'clock on WATE 6 on your side. And of course, don't forget you can always download our free weather app. I'll hold this up here real quickly here for you. If you have your phone, just hold it up to this little box with the squiggly lines. It's called a QR code. And what it does, just take your camera, hit the camera button and hold it up. It'll take you to the website where you can download for free our weather app. Great way to stay on top of things. It'll give you alerts if there are any issued, forecast as well. You can always check on the latest with that. And what I also like about it, especially in the spring and summertime, it gives you lightning alerts when there's lightning nearby your area. And if you happen to travel, maybe you go on vacation to Florida, California, North Carolina, you can take it with you and it will give you alerts as you go as well. So a great thing to have. So just again, hold your camera right up there to that QR code and it'll take you to it whether you have an Android device or an Apple device. It'll take you there as well. Even if it's a tablet, you can hold it up to it as well and you can do it as well. All right, so thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you back here at 11 o'clock on WATE 6 on your side and I hope you have a great night.